Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Coaching Conversations with Nick and myself, Chris, here from UpCoach. Nick, how are you this morning?
Hello. I'm doing good. Throat's a bit hoarse, but we'll make it through.
Throat's a bit hoarse, too much partying in the weekend, perhaps?
It was funny enough, and it's not usually my style, but we did polish a couple of bottles of the vodka.
Wow. Heavy night on Saturday then.
Let me tell you, it's I don't know what happened. The next minute I was like, geez, we're already going to bottle. Why stop at one?
That's right. They're always the best nights, unplanned.
It was unplanned, and it was laughing like till the back of your head hurts and
Good.
scary words, but it was all
Good. Those are the best.
Sometimes you got to say, what the hell, right?
Why not? Good. I'm glad you had a good time. Today we're going to roll in heavy. And the reason why we're rolling in heavy is because at the time of this podcast, Melbourne has issued a stage 4 lockdown, meaning pretty much everyone needs to stay at home. Most businesses need to close their doors unless they're essential businesses or essential services. So for the business community, it's pretty tough in central Melbourne right now. So our first question is leveraging off that. Hopefully this hits a chord or provides some value to the Melburnian business owners out there. First question would be, Nick, if you were stuck at home right now, if you had to close your doors because you're part of that lockdown, whether you're in retail, hospitality business, anywhere where you're not an essential service, what would you be doing for your business right now if you had to close doors for the next 6 weeks?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about what happens if this is the new norm. If we reach a threshold, we go into lockdown. We reach a threshold, we go into lockdown. We come out of it. Things are okay. I was listening the other day on for New South Wales to go into lockdown again, it needs to be 250 cases per day. We're at 12.
Is that right? 250 a day?
Yeah, that's
in
what
New
the
South.
Premier said, right?
Oh,
So,
right. Okay.
now, it's interesting. So I'm thinking, if this is the new norm and it's not business as usual, well, we need to start to plan for changes. Interesting, and I want to kind of frame this around, so I'm going to give you some constructs to understand. Less than 100 years ago, everybody on planet Earth was associated with agriculture. Everyone. You worked in it, you worked close to it, you supplied it, you worked around it, you were a freight company that moved tomatoes from a farm to a whatever. And then even earlier than that, we figured out, trains can move stuff. We found refrigeration. There was all of these things, right? It's funny. And before that, less than 500 years before that, right, we didn't have trains. We didn't have any of that stuff. And we literally, especially population through globally, was all just around the coastal fringes. But then they opened up cities because we could move food, right? Once again, a massive shift. These are all shifts, right? When you think about it. Peter Diamandis says that where kids today are going to school to learn things that it will be non-existent in the next 20 years. So everything they're learning today has got nothing to do with what's about to happen in the next 20 because of technology moving so fast. So, or what we're trying to do is to teach kids technologies that haven't even been invented. What do we do with that there, like robotics and stuff like that? So when you think about that, what our reality is today, because it's moving in incremental shifts really fast, we need to start thinking about, if this is the new normal, this is the new future, what would we do? So my first idea would be, if your business is traditional retail, has anything that's got to do with a pandemic that can be affected directly, I suppose at some levels indirectly. As an example with us, lucky we made the shift well before COVID, not to tour as much and stuff like that, is because I also saw foresight in saying, if this is the only way for us to generate leads and it's not being effective, which it wasn't for the last sort of 12 months of that, and or Facebook is really expensive and it doesn't become worth it, well, it makes sense that we search out new ways. And, touch wood, and with the God shining on us, we've been killing it, right?
Yeah,
so
it's been going well.
It's been going well, right? So with that, I thought differently. So my first thing would be, number one, how do you redesign your business? Can it be redesigned? Remember people when Henry Ford created the Model T, they said it's never going to take off. People just want faster horses, no chance. And it did it, even though it was a shitload slower than the horse, but it eventually got faster. But, it's the same thing. So I suppose what I'm looking at here, can you reinvent the way that things are done? Yeah, and we were just talking about this just before we hopped on here. A friend of mine that's a provider that delivers to restaurants and hotels and all of that stuff has had a 80% drop in income because
Wow.
hotels were closed, restaurants were closed, and
Yeah.
now they're sort of starting to get back, but still, it's not business as usual. And interesting enough, he moved to home delivery. So he's opened up a business that's starting to grow. It's nowhere near that, but the other one took him 25 years to grow into a, $6-7 million plus business. And
Yeah.
guess what? Through necessity, he's changed, and it's been very successful. He's been growing, and 100 plus deliveries, every second day and stuff like that.
Wow. That's great.
Pretty awesome, right? So I suppose that would be number one. Can I shift my business, my current business, into doing it differently? Is there an opportunity? Now, how do you do that? As an example, if you're you're at a wedding reception. How do you get people together? That's traditionally a wedding is where people come together, they enjoy a great night, and all of that stuff. But let's think about this. Is there a better way? Is there a new way to do it? Can it done digitally, just like this, with the bride and groom and the party, maybe all in one place, because it's a main table? Can there be backgrounds that show you're sitting around people? Can there be stuff that's sent in the mail that you kind of set up your table and, it has a couple of things? I'm just, and I know I'm thinking out there, but what I'm saying is, if this is the new norm, and I mean, we've been doing Zoom before Zoom started, right?
Before Zoom was popular.
It was, right? Exactly. We used to do Skypes, right?
Yeah.
It was our thing. I've done Skype for ages, right? There used to be Skypes, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how long we've been online for, till before we got Zoom, right? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So can that be different? Can the wedding reception as we know it be different, but still have the celebration? Can you send food out? Can it be sent, just delivered like it is normally? Can the venue make the food and deliver it? And I get it, it's a bit weird. You know what I mean? It's still a different way of celebrating where everybody can log on. You can see the guests. There's still some levels of stuff. Friends of mine, they're DJs, and they do DJing on Friday night and Saturday night on Facebook. And it's really cool, funny enough, because they've got film clips. You just open up the thing. It's a film clip, them DJing.
Yes.
And you can have a little dance in your bedroom, in your lounge.
I've also noticed, success resources that promote and tour Tony Robbins internationally, they've created a virtual 360-degree experience. So pretty much Tony's doing the same thing, just in an online version. Online.
Cost him $1 million to set up or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
But they've gone from traditionally, they only ever did live shows. Like that's how they ran the business. I saw something, I think it was an ad or something online the other day where Tony's literally surrounded by a screen and he does the whole show,
Got 116,000 people.
How's that? That's just a massive
shift. The biggest venue that he does, the biggest is like 5,000.
Yeah.
7,000 or 10,000 or something like that. 116,000 people joining for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is now. I get it. Like it's some businesses, it's tough to do it in. Some businesses, you're never going to do it at that level. You know what I mean? Some businesses, it's just traditionally doesn't work. Now, so the first thing I would do is, can I modify my own business? And really think about it. Think out the square. I just came up with that. I was just thinking wedding reception, that's traditionally people have to come together. Well, it isn't. Is there another way? Funeral services, is there another, whatever it is, and retail, we know there's another way. It's all online, right? So there's options there, right? Now, if you're a doctor, you can do it like this now. I don't see why traditionally we have to, drive to the doctor, all of this stuff. So that would be number one.
Yep.
My number two level of thought right now would be, how do you keep your mind focused? Because traditionally, I was just watching this show on prisons yesterday. It's this guy that goes around all these different prisons around the world. He was wrongly convicted for 12 years, and now he goes and checks out all these prisons. And some places, man, you
would
never
not
ever
want to
want
hang
to
out.
go there ever, right? It's like, and there was one that they said, it's funny enough, it's in like, not Tahiti, but like a beautiful area that is all, known with tropical islands and stuff like that. And they got a prison for drug trafficking is the big one, and murder and all that stuff. And they were saying that they do solitary confinement where the room is like, it's not much bigger than this office, and you're there for 10 days. And he was saying something interesting. He goes, you can either lose it, scratch out the walls, bang on the door, bang your head against the wall till it bleeds, all of these things. Or he goes, I know I've been there, he's been 12 years wrongly convicted. Or you can deal with it and let your mind go to another place. And funny enough, he asked one of the other prisoners, what do you do? He goes, actually, I've got a lady that's with me in my mind that I did when I first came into here, and he's been convicted 15 years. And I know we're kind of going down into a weird path, but basically he did it as a coping mechanism to be able to go, when he's in the worst scenarios, he can have an internal conversation with this girl, Tika or something her name was, to go, hey, so where are we going tonight? Oh, you know what? We're going to get ready and then we're going to go out to dinner, or, hey, why don't we sit on the beach tonight? And he's in a prison. Like, it's like, once again, I don't know why I'm talking these concepts there. Maybe it's the vodka from the weekend, but
Maybe
it's a totally different construct. So if you're in business, you need to occupy your mind. And the reason being is business typically is routine. I get up, I go to work, I do different work, and I come home. So if you're locked up for 6 weeks and you can't go anywhere, and Melbourne, you can only go less than 5 kilometers, you can exercise a bit, it makes sense that you start to think differently to occupy your mind. Now, how would I occupy my mind? Well, if you haven't had time to think vision, mission, goals, values, systems, strategy, processes, employing the right staff, agreements that you need to have in place, all of these things, economy is going to keep turning. It's not like we're shut everything down globally. That ain't, God forbid, if that happens, we're in bad position, right? But there's always somebody doing stuff. There always needs to be something. Funny enough, in one of these prisons, there's a whole economy. There's stores that people can go and eat, get a haircut inside this prison. It's like insane, right? And so with me, I'm like, what's all the stuff? Start a list of all the things that you've wanted to do, but you've never had time to. And then number 3 is get yourself educated. There's never been a better time.
Perfect. They're still delivering books, and if you can't get it delivered, then there's an ebook, right? So
ebook, every course that you can
video,
watch TED. You can, literally, universities are like, we don't need to stop. You could do an MBA if that's what you want to do. You can become a doctor today, online, like paid for it, zip, and you'll start the more module courses. Do you know what I mean? So, and why am I saying get educated? Remember I said we're trying to learn stuff that we haven't even invented yet. That's the rapidness. And here's how they calculate it. There's a formula, but effectively think about it like this. When the first iPhone came out, it used to be that it was really good for about 6 to 12 months. Then they released iPhone 2 or whatever, and that took 6 to 12 months. Today, technology takes about 6 weeks. So literally, it went from 6 to 12 months to 6 weeks.
Yes.
And if you look at it, that's the exponential speed that we're at today. Less than 8 years ago, the phone only had SMS. No internet, no apps, no Facebook. 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
And for anyone that
to think that
hasn't been around in that time frame, they're like, what? No Facebook on your phone?
My kids are like, SMS. They don't even use SMS. It's good, but there's every other app, So once again, if you go, all right, can I redo my business today? Number 2, what can I do? All the stuff to keep my mind occupied, the stuff that I should have done that I haven't. And then number 3, get educated. Because through the education, you're going to be a better man or a better woman. And most importantly, you're going to go, you know what? Well, maybe that business isn't it. And I get it. How do you pay the bills? How do you do all of that stuff?
Yep.
Right now, there's no simple answer to go, how do you do it? What I'm trying to share with you is adaptation is critical, and adaptation at speed is critical. Don't be this, I'm going to become a victim. that's how it is from now on. And,
Yeah.
even my mate Eric, I was talking to him, he goes, dude, he goes, I'm semi-going broke. He said, but we're still cool. He's got a beautiful house and all of
Mm.
that stuff because he got prepared, previously, obviously. And number two, he's adapting. It's not what it used to be. But funny enough, he goes, dude, I've got to tell you, I absolutely love it. COVID's been the best thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, dude, he's for the last 25, 30 years since I've known him from school, right? He's started as a providor and all he's done is worked every night, 6 days a week, leaves home at 11 o'clock at night and comes home at about 12 o'clock.
Oh, wow. He does the grave shift.
Yeah, because he used to go to the markets, buy stuff, and he had a big business.
Wow.
10 guys working for him and, trucks and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now you guys, dude, I don't do weekends. He goes, Friday, I didn't feel like going to work. I didn't because I'm training another guy. All of these things. He goes, I'm getting my life back. He goes, to be honest, he goes, I slept for 2 days, which is unheard of. The stress is less. So there's all of these things. And I suppose finally, the last one that I would do if I'm home is I believe it's important to develop habits. And what I mean by habits is, when we moved from our office, as because everybody's kind of scattered. So big office really wasn't the best decision in the world, but it was a strategy that we were going to go for, but didn't end up panning out that way. Is because my bedroom's 2 doors away from here. I could easily take it easy, be lazy, work on the couch. It's more comfortable in the office.
Yeah.
But I, not wear a shirt. I got my shirt, my jeans on, my shoes on. And people go, why do you do that? You're at home. You can work in a t-shirt. And especially if I don't have clients, like today, no clients, I could easily. But I don't do that because it's a habit. I'm going to work. It's time. And you know me, I'm up early. I've got to do stuff. And so exercise routine, mindset routine, work routine. Just think because you don't have a business, you can, sit at home, smoke weed and eat shit watching Netflix.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Then you start to develop those habits of, you say it perfectly, Chris, it's like along the lines of attitude of gratitude, or you can have what is it?
When you trade expectation
be,
for appreciation,
that's the one.
your entire life will change. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you know, like because then you could have that expectation effect. It's interesting. I've been looking at some stats now through COVID with the job keeper and job seeker, I think. And they found that a lot of people that are on job seeker, even guys like us that advertise to get more team members and all that stuff, they found actually the application rate of people seeking particular jobs has dropped. It's like there's 1 million plus people employed. You'd think you go, I've got an overwhelming level of people that have come, not all jobs, but for some particular jobs. And people are like, no, why should I? I'm on this. I get 150 a week.
The government's given them enough to live on, so they're
right.
Well,
you could imagine places around the world where there's none of that. It's like,
yes,
work, COVID, shut business down. We figure it out.
Yeah, that's it.
Ask your relatives to help you. Ask your friends.
Yeah.
So do you know? Like for us, we can't be reliant like that. You've got to start to develop better habits. Stay focused. Stay. Exercise. Do stuff. Learn stuff. Speak to other people, join a group or, anything that can get you through the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those things are important. They interviewed Mandela and he said 23 years of prison. He said, I forgave not only my captors, but I felt sorry for him to be that way. He goes, and the worst one was trying to understand time because you can imagine.
Yeah.
Good in the morning.
Habit is so important. So I'm going to just bounce off that for a sec. My wife, Kate, and I were discussing, being in a hotel quarantine for 2 weeks. She said, imagine being in just one hotel room for 2 weeks. I was like, the only way you'd get through it is developing a rock solid routine because you can't go outside. You can't go and hang out. Yes, you can do everything virtually or digitally through work, through learning, you got to eat. So I guess I got to put food through the door at some point. But, I said the only way you'd get through that is through developing a rock solid habit. I don't know, getting up at 6:30, exercising from 6:45 till 7:15, then shower from 7:15, breakfast at 7:30, start work at 8. Like if you had a solid routine and just totally, I guess, immersed yourself in work, learning, mindset development, which is the things that you've kind of just been speaking about, you would easily get through the 2 weeks and probably achieve more in the 2 weeks with a rock solid foundational habit like that than you ever would normally.
Yeah,
Because you don't
correct.
have all these other things from life getting in the way. There's no
From life getting
socializing,
in the
there's no
way.
hanging
Well,
out, there's no going outside to exercise. You still exercise in your room, by the way. You just wouldn't be doing it outside.
yeah,
So I
you know
think the
what?
habits are the foundation here.
The habits of the foundation. It's interesting. One of my, our friends, obviously, him, Steve. His wife Sandy, or his girlfriend Sandy, is air hostess for Qantas, very high up, very senior. And they've basically gone, hey, till July next year we're not flying. So
Wow.
we've actually stood you down.
Yeah.
You need to go find a job. Go find a job.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, I thought about that. I'm like, well, it's easy for you to feel sorry for yourself, get in that routine, be sitting like a couch potato, and all of that type of stuff. And I was thinking, like, for someone like her, 20 years plus experience in service, outstanding level. She's a cabin manager for A380 and all of that stuff. So
Right.
you
Right.
could imagine, from a course point of view, for somebody that needs to train their team or whatever it may be, or what she can bring to the table on service, how to serve hundreds of people efficiently, all of these things that you could eventually do, because eventually we're going to get a hold on the pandemic. We'll just live with it like people live with cancer. We'll just figure it out. You know what I mean? So you can imagine with that, like somebody, once again, like a wedding reception or whatever, go, hey, let me just have a look at your efficiency on when you're serving all of these people, or, portion sizes to cut better cost, to show better value, or, any of these things. Like, I'm like, if you had to reinvent yourself, get into habits, get out there, shift what you do, man, I'm going to end with this on that part. There's only one thing for certain, is that everything is in flux continuously.
Yeah. Right.
I was thinking about that even for us. If God forbid something happened and
Yeah.
we couldn't coach, I could
Yeah.
tomorrow join a construction company and go and reno a house if that's what I
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could easily understand mechanics. I'm trained as an engineer. I
Mm.
could do project management. There's a lot of skill sets that I
Mm.
can do. It's not because I'm amazing at it. I'm kind of jack of all trades, but master of none. But I'm
Master,
good
no,
enough
I don't
to
know.
be,
Master of one, I reckon.
well,
Coaching's
I'm
pretty
master
high up.
of it too. But like, there's always something. If you apply yourself into it, sometimes the change is amazing. You look forward to the change.
Yeah. I think for people in Melbourne right now, it's a pause. And I posted something on Facebook, which is very poignant this morning. And it's this. It's a quote from Confucius, actually. He said, "It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop." That was from
Not so.
Confucius. So
Correct.
it's for anyone that's in Melbourne right now. And this episode's pretty much dedicated to anyone that's doing it tough in Melbourne right now from a business owner perspective. You definitely can work on yourself, work on your business, work on educating yourself, work on planning for the future, because you're right, it will go away. COVID will end, a vaccine will be created. It will be one of those
Correct.
Spanish flu type scenarios where
We're going to figure it out.
we'll figure it out.
It's interesting with that, Chris. I think, a lot of people create major doomsday scenarios.
Mm.
Dude, I've fed the homeless.
Hypothetical doomsday, because it doesn't.
Hypotheticals doomsday.
Yeah.
I've fed the homeless for years.
Mm-hmm.
And to be brutally honest, and this is hopefully people do, I'm going to place it so nobody gets offended.
Yeah.
Because I've worked with a lot of homeless people, I've asked them a lot of questions. And to be honest, homelessness in Australia is only a choice. It really is. There's shelter for everybody. Food, they get fed three times a day. If you want mental help, any of that type of dental help, a doctor, and any homeless person can get all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just right now they just feel like checking out on society for a bit.
Mm.
And it's interesting. It's most people that are homeless hang out in clusters because there's a group in saying that. They like to be able to be nomadic. They like to be able to have no boundaries. Right. So it's kind of a weird, and I don't mean they as in I'm different to them, because I could be homeless tomorrow. But in order for your business and your world to change that much, it means all hope is gone. All relatives that could, give you a room to put a roof over your head are done. All friends that you've ever known done. All work colleagues done. Like it's a cascade. You need to be maybe addicted to a substance.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of bad things that need to happen in order for you to go, I'm going to lose everything. They're going to kick me out. I'm going to lose my house. Even if you lost all of that, but you still had food and you still had possibility and you still had a roof over your head and you had routines, you'll be able to rebuild. We're pretty clever, man.
Yeah.
All hope was lost in how many world wars?
Good point.
We got past it.
Good point.
You know?
Good. So don't give up, guys. If you're listening to this and you're in Melbourne and you're in lockdown, there's no excuse for slowing down and giving up entirely. Yes, things are, I guess, on hold. Things will slow down business-wise, but it's not a reason for you to slow down business-wise. You can still continue, albeit from your home or from your computer, but you still have the choice to continue pushing forward. I think we'll leave it with that.
Very good.
Good episode. Thank you, Nick. Once again, appreciate your time as always.
Hey, no problem.
And we'll see you all again on the next episode. Bye for now, guys. Bye.
Bye.